Hey man, you have got to dive right in. You've got to jump in when it's scary. You've got to jump in when you have fear. You've got to just tackle it head on. No matter what the situation is, no matter how tired you are, no matter the circumstance, even jumping into the unknown gives you a result. If you're just here, sitting down, being complacent, you're not gonna go anywhere. Truthfully, some action is better than no action. Sometimes you think the pacing of your life is going too fast. Sometimes you think the pacing of your life is going too slow. But as long as something is happening, something's working in the background, as long as there's action, you will not fail. You cannot fail because there's always moments to pivot. Every decision you make is just another reminder of how much you're willing to sacrifice, how much you're willing to put in to make sure that you get what you want, when you want. There's no timeline for when you get what you want. There's no telling whether or not you're going to win. You're never going to know completely. So if you just jump in head on, you might just win. You might just get what you want because it simply works with how you do it. And if you do it or not. Jumping head in blind just teaches you one thing. It teaches you to be fearless. It teaches you to just go in. You know how many people have left their dreams in their bed, left their dreams on the couch, left their dreams just watching and scrolling mindlessly, losing their lives simply because they didn't choose to make action. They didn't choose to be someone that's willing to sacrifice some days, some hours, some minutes even. People don't want to spend the time to even elevate their lives in minutes. Minutes of a day. Coins to $100 bill. It's simply simple. It's simple. There are just so many podcasts, so many ways to get information, so many people to be around. Yet we're not seeking the information that we want. We're not seeking the business we want, the information we need, the scholarly articles. It's all out there, yet we are just stuck. We're just stuck. Look at ourselves. We're watching YouTube, we're watching TikTok, we're watching Instagram. You want to be a consumer, or do you want to be the creator? Do you want to be someone motivating, or do you want to be the one that's being inspired? I can't believe the amount of people that just think that they're not going anywhere. If you accept your fate, you're not going to have a different fate. If you accept where you are, you're simply not going to go anywhere else. If you choose to stop at a destination, when you're driving, if you choose to stop at a destination, that is when you decide that I want to go to this place. And that's when you have no possibility to choose any different route. Because you're stuck. You're in that place that you want to be in. And when you turn off that gas, you're done. It's over. The pacing of life, it's not too difficult. Pacing of life is simple. You do the hard things right away. You keep the easy things for later. You keep the short-term pleasures for later. You keep those little habits that you think are good to yourself. And then you keep the good habits. But you try and every day spend little time to getting rid of the smaller ones, the bad ones, the ones that keep making you fall into sin. The ones that keep distracting you, that you can't focus on your goals and your dreams, that you're writing down all these goals and you're writing down all these dreams, yet you keep looking at it, just staring into the abyss. When you have legs, you have arms to make something out of it. What's the point in making a goal, in making a dream, in making a mission when you can't even do the first step? Why are you looking 10 miles down the road when you can't decide to take another step? It's not your turn to be looking at the finishers of the marathon when you're running a 5K. Your journey is never going to be the same as anybody else. You're here for one specific reason, and you don't know it yet. Which is why you've got to also explore. You've got to discover. You've got to look around sometimes. Look around where you are. The moment in time of where you are. Look around to see, am I doing the right thing? Am I reflecting upon myself? Am I talking to myself? People like to say, talking to yourself is so weird, it's so cringe, it's so animalistic. This guy's going insane. He's literally a caveman talking to himself. Why is he talking to himself? That's the same mentality of a person that's never going to progress in life. If you never have the self-reflection, if you never have the time to talk to yourself, to look at your own opinion, how do you feel about the situation? How do you feel about your life situation? Look at Andrew Tate. He was 300 pounds, spraying for cockroaches, and he decided to take upon reflection, look upon his life, and think that he deserved something better. He didn't want dopamine at that. There was no dopamine at that time. He had no motivation. He had no inspiration. When he's that big, when he's that clueless, when he's that lost, how else would he get motivation? He hated himself. But the only way he pivoted was because he reflected upon himself. He took the time to talk to himself. He took the time to look at who he was in the mirror. And that's what you need to do right now. Because there's always going to be moments in our lives that we're going to look at ourselves and say that we are doing something wrong. There must be something going wrong. You're never going to be a perfect person, which is why you look at yourself in the mirror every single day. Look at yourself in the camera. Look at yourself. Even in first person mode, look at your arms. Look at your legs. Look at the clothing you're wearing. It's all a reflection upon what you are, who you are, how you portray yourself, how you want to be seen, how you feel about yourself. Everything is correlated to one another because that is who you represent. That is who you represent. Your personal brand is yourself. Whatever you wear, whatever you speak into the universe, whatever you smell like, it's all together. It's all your brand. It's all who you are. So if you don't spend the time to know who you are, then how will anybody else try and find out who you are? How will anybody else try and understand? They won't. They won't plead. They won't beg. They won't know who you are if you don't know who you are yourself. You have got to know who you are first. And then you'll know the strategy to being successful. Figure out the things you need to figure out from yourself. Which is why so much people are doing these early morning things. They wake up at 5 a.m. just to build discipline, just to find out who they are. They wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. They go for a run. They spend a long time doing streaks of running, doing streaks of working out, 75 hard, eating healthy foods, working on the business, doing deep work, studying. These are all things to reflect upon you, who you are, what you want to build. And yet we think that sometimes some people still think that social media is a lie. No, it's not always a lie. People are just documenting their lives, that they're actually trying to improve themselves. And if you are a person that looks at social media and thinks of it as a negative factor, then you are not looking correctly. You're part of the matrix when you're looking at social media and thinking that it's making you sad. If social media is making you sad, then your life is simply not the life that you want to live. And that's a good thing. You can now get the time to reflect upon yourself. To know that and to think that I could be living the life someone else is living right now. I could be the person that I want to be. if I just put in that work, if I just had a little more discipline. It's not an if anymore. Your whole life is up to you. You've got it all on your hands, all on your legs, all in that mind of yours. Remember, you are in control of your life. Don't forget who is in control. That's all I have. Peace out, guys. I hope you guys liked that video. I'm trying to be a little faster with my words, trying to be more intellectual with how I speak. Because why would people ever want to listen to me if they don't trust the words that are coming out my mouth? If the words I speak are too slow, how would I be a person that's trustworthy to having knowledge? You only trust a trusted source. That's all I have. See you guys later.